Let's make some noise. Come on.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Final Word. Oh, wow. Welcome back to the Final Word here on the Ep204 Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call. It is a little bit late. I apologize. I was in the middle of doing something else network related, so I wasn't, slacking. I was doing work. I just lost track of some time, but I'm here now, and that's all that matters. And I'm glad to be back here for our second show of our broadcast week. It is Victory Monday. Oh, no, sorry. Is it too soon? Is it too soon to say that? It's not Victory Monday. It's quite the opposite. And we're going to continue to peel back the layers of what went down in Big D yesterday. And as the show title indicates, I believe it's a macro issue, not a micro. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is a lot of people that I've heard today bitching, complaining, crying, whining, homering up on sports radio today were centered on the problems that occurred on Sunday as if they were out of the blue. Like, oh, the offense is not working, or the play calling's been a problem, or the offensive line's not quite up to par, and what have you. It's not a micro issue. This is the macro problem that's been occurring since game one, way back in September against the same Dallas Cowboys. It's a macro problem. It's not a micro problem. And that is why I believe what you saw on Sunday is the start of the 2025 collapse. I do. And I will get into it. And I know I'm going to get the hate and the venom and the viscerality and all that stuff, but that's okay because I'm MattyB. I was born from the fires of hell. So I can take it. So we're going to get into some of that. We're also going to touch base a little bit on some hot stove. There's been some movement in baseball. Nothing to report really earth-shattering on the Phillies. They did sign another tweener, which they're rounding out the Lehigh Valley Iron Pig roster, I guess. I guess that's what they're starting. They're going to work their way backwards. So we'll get into some baseball. We are going to do a card review and a day in Philadelphia sports history, but not a of the night. I'm not prepared for that tonight. I was off doing, as I said, show-related stuff that'll pay dividends in about 2 days. So let's get going here on the program tonight. And again, I'm really sorry that I'm late. Yes, I know you too. Spent some time with you just recently. Joe Hale, what's up? What's going on there? Mickey Delaney checking in from the left coast. Mickey, how are you tonight? I hope things are well in, where are you at? Washington? Yeah, Washington State. I hope things are well out there in the great Pacific Northwest. But let's get it going. Let's strap it in, strap it on, strap it up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And we're going to roll on this, our very first show, our very first, it's not our very first show, but our very first segment of the night. But before I do that, I'd be amiss. I want to put up the schedule for the remaining part of the week. Here we go. It is Monday night. So you had a little flip-flop tonight. We're back to our old time, apparently, at 10 o'clock. As again, the fighting or the clear the ice just went off between the Flyers and Lightning. We can talk that too. You want to talk about a Flyers 3-0 loss? We're more than capable of doing that. Even though I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't watch any of the game, but I bet you I can tell you what happened. Even though I didn't watch it, I bet you I can tell you what happened. And then, of course, you got me, the final word tomorrow. The Pittsburgh Sports Desk coming to Tuesday in order to get through the holiday. Props, locks, and parlays will follow them, and then I will be your cleanup hitter at 9 o'clock. The Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn will air on Wednesday this week, yet to be determined of the time. I'm still working with Kyle. I had to pull his head out the oven this morning, so we're working on the time for Wednesday's show. Also, the final word with me, and then Flyers-Panthers postgame on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, your Turkey Day, your Thanksgiving Day. Spend Thanksgiving Day with us here at the It's a Wrap Sports Network, because the Fighting's Final 2025 season in review show, which I can tell you by firsthand knowledge that it's going to be a pretty good one. So make sure you You spend it with us at 12 noon on Thanksgiving. Get you set for some football. Start with some Phillies baseball to start off your day. And then also, while you're gathered around the the TV or the computer or the YouTube, I don't know how you people watch it anymore, but tell Uncle Ned and Aunt Gertrude, like, share, and subscribe to the network, man. We need some help. We got to continue to grow. On Friday, you got some Eagles Bears, as we're going to do some first flyby, and then the Gridiron Weekly sandwiched in between the Flyers Islanders clear the ice. Saturday, Penn State mercifully ends their season against Rutgers, and the Flyers and Devils on clear the ice. And there's your Sunday lineup. Philly AM Sports, the Steel City pre and post game, and me. So even though it's a holiday, we're not taking it off here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So make sure you're tuned in for all the greatness that we do here. So let's get going with our day in Philadelphia sports history. This is one that's near and dear to my heart, seeing how I grew up in Philadelphia. And this was something that when I was a kid, I could not wait to participate in, and actually got the opportunity to participate in, both as a player and as a fan. And then, of course, now it doesn't exist anymore because, we done ruined it. But this was a very interesting day in Philadelphia sports history, because back on this day in 1892, and yes, I was not there. I was not there when they signed this. I was not there when they dipped the feather into the ink to sign this. I wasn't standing there holding the candle. No, but I did partake in this. This was a rite of passage for Philadelphia youth, young men essentially, and women, I guess, to an extent. But this was something we look forward to every single Thanksgiving day, and it is no more. But back on this day in 1892, Central High and Northeast High in Philadelphia started a local tradition that it is synonymous with Thanksgiving as turkey and bickering in-laws. To be fair, it may not have been the first Thanksgiving game on American soil, but it is definitely one of the more popular ones, and it started a city-wide tradition that lasted for hundreds of years. Thanksgiving Day football in Philadelphia, high school variety, was born on this day in 1892, and I don't know what's going on in the suburbs anymore. I don't know what's going on in Monco, Bucks County, or Delco. I don't know what they're doing. And I know they are still sort of playing it, but they're not playing it in the 2-1-5 anymore. They're not doing public league versus Catholic league. I went to Father Judge in Northeast Philly, and I played. I dressed for the Thanksgiving game as a freshman. I never saw the field, but I dressed. I was on the freshman team, not the varsity, but they needed an extra wide receiver, so I went in and I dressed. And then I partook in it as a fan the rest of the time throughout my high school life. And there was nothing better. There's so many great memories of Thanksgiving morning football, public league, Catholic league in Philadelphia. Again, I do not and I cannot speak intelligently on what's happening in the suburbs because I wasn't from the suburbs and I don't care about the suburbs. But in the 2-1-5, it was something that you couldn't wait to be part of. You couldn't wait to be part of the spectacle that was that. If you played football, obviously it was an honor to play. You played your public league rival or your Catholic league rival. Ours was Lincoln High School, and it was just a great way to start your Thanksgiving. It was always around 9, 10, 8, 7, really early in the morning. And then when you got older, of course, the night before Thanksgiving that was other stuff going on that you partook in, and you sort of saw the aftermath on the day of Thanksgiving when you saw the girl again. But that's a story for another time. But as far as that's part of it for me. That led into this. That's what made my childhood growing up in Mayfair so cool. And it's gone. It's gone because of no home training for a lot of these young men and women anymore, and soft-ass society that can't deal with the problems of children. Yeah, I don't care if they're bringing guns to the game. You stop it. You should have stopped it. Shutting it down was not the right thing to do. It wasn't. Do I condone the violence? No, of course I don't. But I also don't condone mass punishment of everybody. You stripped away generations of memories from this event, and it was a sad day a few years back when they did away with it. And I'm glad I had the opportunities to partake. So Thanksgiving Day football, the high school variety, was born on this day in 1892, and died on this day, or I don't know when it died. Died a few years back. So there you go. That's your day in Philadelphia sports history. I had to get up on my political soapbox there for a second. I don't like doing that, man. I don't like doing that. I'm an apolitical kind of guy. But boy, it pisses me off every time we roll. And I know that, again, I know they do it out in the burbs. I think it's at WIP. They go and they broadcast at the game now, but it ain't the same, man. It ain't the same. All right. God, I miss it, man. So on this day in 1892, and again, I was not there when they did this. I wasn't there, and I said, hear, I got a proclamation to make. I wasn't in part of the signing process. I didn't hold the candle. I didn't dip the feather in the ink. I wasn't there, but I definitely partook in it growing up as a young stud, man, rolling the streets of Mayfair, man. God damn, I miss them days. Man, if you think I'm bad now, you should have saw me when I was 16. I was a straight-ass criminal. Heartbreaker. Man, our sister school was St. Hubert's. Man, I laid waste to that school. Then I moved on to Ryan High School, laid waste up there. I finished up at, what was the last school that I stopped messing around with? The Greta School, the Anne-Marie Greta down there in West Philly? When I started branching out into the other neighborhoods. Man, I miss them days. God, rolling down Tarsville Avenue, walking, of course. I didn't have a car, but nobody did. You didn't need a car growing up back then. Brings back a lot of memories, man. Thanksgiving Day football. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for you future generations that you'll never know the pleasure and the fun of showing up at a game when it's about 38 degrees, hungover, seeing what's her name up there in the stands with her dad, knowing, yeah, we had some fun last night. Woo! But anyway, I digress. Back to the topic at hand. Joe Hale's got a question for me. Got a question. If we ask Phillies questions on Thursday, can you respond to the questions? I can. I will, but not live, Joe. I won't be there in person. It's a pre-recorded show. I thought I warned you guys about this. It's pre-recorded, about an hour and 45 minutes. I just laid it down, man. Just laid it down. So it's about an hour and 45 minutes. I will respond to the questions, but I won't do it live. So I don't know if that helps you. I think we might have answered some of the questions. A lot of the questions. We explored everything from what happened this season to what could potentially happen in 2026. We unpeeled the layer pretty good. So, but yes, if you ask questions, I will answer them, but not live. I played 3 Northwood. Yeah, I mean, Mike, you grew up in that time. I mean, it's hard for me to seriously project all the extra sensory things that were happening on that day. I mean, one, and I ain't gonna lie, going to a Catholic school, and it was an all boys school. There was I don't want to say entitlement, but we were not really we were shunned by the Philadelphia public education system. We hung out with our own people, and it wasn't because we were better than them. It's just the way it kind of worked out. It was a social pecking order. And not that I think it was right, but when you had the opportunity to clash with your public school rival, man, it was fun. And in the years I went to it, from 87 to 91, there were never any issues. I never saw anybody bringing guns to the game. Yeah, there was a lot of shit talking going on, a lot of yelling back and forth. But when the game was over, we walked off the field and we went off to enjoy the rest of our Thanksgiving Day. I mean, I don't know where it went wrong. I don't. Well, I do, but to blanket it and say we're not doing it anymore is a travesty. It's a travesty to what the history of the city of Philadelphia is all about. Sports. Right? That's what we pride ourselves in, being educated, passionate sports fans. And you turn off one of the more unique things about the city. Why not turn off the Mummers Day Parade? I'm sure that thing don't go off without a hitch every year. But they didn't turn that off. So if there's a sense, if somebody gets in the position of power in the city of Philadelphia, the first thing they need to do is bring the parties back to the table and turn back on high school Thanksgiving Day football, public league, Catholic league within the city of Philadelphia. They got to do it. They got to save it, man. Bring it back. Bring it back under a different banner. Bring it back with immense security. Make it a central location. You just rotate teams and fans in throughout the whole day so you can secure the area. Do whatever you got to do. But you got to bring it back, man. It's a travesty that we don't have it anymore. It is, Mike. And you know what I'm talking about. And those of you that grew up, now, I got a thing for the suburbs. I don't respect them. I don't, but I don't know what you guys got going on down there. And as I said, I know it's still going on in some of the counties, but God damn, man, bring it back. Bring it back. X-ray tonight. no, just a little nostalgic there, Pappernick. I had some fun. A lot of memories. A lot of memories of juniors. Or actually, the best memory I have. She was a senior and I was a sophomore. She could drive. And I felt so cool. She rolled up to my house one night. It was around Halloween. She went to Hubert's, I think. She went to Ryan. This was a different girl from Ryan. Man, it was like a plague going through that school. Anyway, she rode down my neighborhood one night, picked me up. We're cruising Frankfurt Avenue, listening to the Beach Boys and Kokomo. That's when the song Kokomo first came out, like in 88, 89, something like that. She took a young man that night, a young boy, and made me a man. Oh, yes, she did. And I will forever thank her for that. She always creeps into my memories. Well, I'm going way off. If my wife is watching this, I'm a dead man. But you know what I'm talking about. Matt, are the phone lines open tonight? They might be. Yeah, I might get around to it. Joel says I go to Ryan versus Washington on Thanksgiving. Oh, so there's how is it still happening? Do they play it out in on a different planet? I went to Onley High School instead of Cardinal Doherty or Mercy Tech. Okay, so you guys know the deal, man. 92, we had a huge fight with North Catholic. Listen, I'm not telling you that the incidents didn't occur. I'm not saying that. They are going to occur. But to shut it down, to say, nope, you're bad, we're going to turn it off, it's the wrong answer. Find a way to make it happen. Just don't turn it off. We're talking 1892. Over 100 years. Over 100 years of a tradition you just blanketed and said, yeah. I think it was the Catholic League that pulled out. I think they're the ones who said they don't want to do it anymore. But bring them back to the table, man. Bring them back to the table. Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about, man. God, what was her name? Damn. She drove I don't even know what the car was. I know what the car smelled like. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, all right, let me pull it back together. All right, here we go. So what do we come here tonight to discuss? Oh, man. Yes, the post-mortem of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. All day long, I've heard nothing but micro analysis of the game yesterday. The penalties, out of control. Can't have that many penalties in a game. The offensive play calling is what it is. Saquon Barkley. What's going on there? Offensive line not playing well, banged up, hurt, whatever. Forcing the football to A.J. Brown. Going on this long dry spell of offensive production. It was almost as if this was something that just popped up today. And what I say to those fans and what I say to those pundits that were talking like that today, and you know who you are, you need to tune into the final word with MattyB, because I've been spouting out about this crap since week one. What happened in Dallas yesterday is no different than what's been happening every single week since week one. Now, there is a difference. Let me strike that comment from the record. There is a difference of what happened yesterday versus what happened in every single week leading up to the game yesterday. What didn't happen yesterday was the Eagles weren't bailed out by a fluky turnover, a miracle special teams play or a defensive stop when they really needed it. They've been walking a thin razor line all season long, much like they did in 2023. And all the, there's no way that the collapse can start again. There's no way. This is not 2023. This is a different team. How is it a different team? What about this team? Now, and I know how they're different. The defense is different, but the offense isn't. It's the same group from 2023, and people are going to roll to me and say, well, it wasn't the offense's problem in 2023. It was the defense. Defense was terrible in 2023, but the offense was still one-layered and one-dimensional. Do we not forget the Seattle Seahawks game in 2023 where Jalen and AJ went off rogue and all that, and they tried to force a play at the end of the game there? Listen, the offense lacked creativity in 2023 as much as it lacks creativity this year. The offensive line was playing better in 2023, but other than that, it's the same offense with Saquon Barkley because he's absolutely providing you nothing back there. So to sit here and tell me that it's not the same team is not necessarily a correct statement. It's more of the same team than you think it is. Same head coach. We have a different offensive coordinator. Yeah, it's true, but we've had pretty much different offensive coordinators since 2021. So I'm not even factoring that into the variable. I'm really not. But the same head coach is there. Same head coach with the same problems. The same CEO attitude. And now you got reports floating out of the Eagle locker room from Landon Dickerson saying, we weren't aware of the 8-man front. When the hell did they start doing that? We weren't prepared. We didn't practice it. Holy Christ. You're going to get on A.J. Brown for jumping on, the media and getting and being on Madden stream saying, don't, drop me on fantasy. Why aren't you running down Landon Dickerson right now? He just dropped the biggest bombshell on the 2025 Eagles season. We weren't prepared. We didn't know they ran an 8-man front. They never do that. But yet everybody talked about the 8-man. I remember people talking about the 8-man front, but I'm not going to pay credence to that because I assumed the Eagles did. Landon Dickerson saying they weren't prepared for an 8-man front. First of all, what, and this goes back to the culture of this team, what gives Landon Dickerson the empowerment to once again air out the locker room's dirty secrets? And why aren't we jumping down Landon Dickerson's back like you jump down A.J. Brown's? Why not? It's the same thing. He's putting out secrets, yes, incompetent stuff, but he's putting out secrets from the locker room out into the general media. We weren't prepared. What? What do you mean you weren't prepared? And why do you feel empowered to say that? What is the exact culture of this football team? What is it? And how do you as the head coach deal with this? How do you walk that? You can't walk it back. He said it. And now you look like a fool. Regardless if it was true or not. If it's true, and I don't doubt that it was, you don't got to tell the media that. Just say, listen, we didn't do a good enough job. We've been struggling. We're going to fix it. Next question. Come on, man. It's not what he said is the issue. It's the empowerment that he feels to say that. He obviously doesn't feel accountability from the team. Then you had, what's his name? What was the other one? Patrick Johnson or Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson, right? He said, in response to why the running game isn't working, I don't know. I'm not a coach. What is that? What is that? Take some ownership, dude. You got manhandled yesterday. And Jalen Phillips. Did Jalen Phillips make the trip to Texas? Did he stay in Philadelphia? Is he still watching game tape from the Lions game? Where in the hell was Jalen Phillips yesterday? Somebody, I got crickets. Tell me. If there's a homer out there listening to this, I want you to tell me where Jalen Phillips was yesterday in that football game. I'm waiting. You don't know. He wasn't there. But this is macro stuff, man. This is not micro. This is not something that just popped up. The trend of the penalties. 14 penalties for 96 yards. And then I heard some buffoon on some show. I don't remember the name. I do, but I'm not going to say it. One of their contributors wants to blame the refs. Man, oh man, homers are homers, man. Homers are going to home, baby. I don't know what to do. You're going to blame the refs for 14 penalties. For 14 of them. 14. You're going to blame the refs for 14 penalties. Well, it's not the WWE, all right? You know, the bad refs are not in this thing. And again, this is not something that reared its ugly head yesterday. The Eagles have been excelling in committing penalties all year. Well, I believe I ran the numbers yesterday. 80 some odd penalties now for the season. They've been penalized on average of 7 times a game for close to 60 yards a game. So that's more than a half of a football field a game. They've been penalized. That didn't start yesterday. That started in week 1 against the Cowboys when they were penalized 9 times for 110 yards. Macro. Saquon Barkley. 10 yards on 22 carries? Whoa. 10 yards on 22 carries. The big story circulating this morning is Saquon. What has happened? Again, where was this story 7 weeks ago? 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago? Because it's been the same story all year. I've been talking about it. I went into the season concerned about it. Are you really expecting Saquon Barkley to replicate what he did in 2024? I don't think you can expect that. He will have a drop-off. Now, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And what is the scapegoat for Saquon Barkley? The offensive line. The offensive line's health. The offensive line's play is the scapegoat for Saquon Barkley. They're not getting the push that they did in 2024. And you know what? I'm not completely alleviating the offensive line from that. They're not. They're not playing well. Right? Now, is it feasible to say that Saquon's 2,500 all-purpose yard season was in some way reflected upon a great offensive line in 2024? Maybe there is. Maybe there's more to that than I'm giving it credit for. But I can't imagine that 10 carries on 22 yards. The man is averaging, I think, right now, about 3.4 yards a carry for the season. I'm not prepared to lean that completely on the offensive line and say that that's the O-line's fault. It's not. We go back to the Super Bowl of last year. They made a concerted effort to try to stop Saquon Barkley, and they did. They unlocked the secret sauce the Chiefs did about stopping Saquon. Now, Jalen, aided by a short football field because of his defense, was able to pick the Chiefs apart. But they provided a blueprint for other teams to stop Saquon Barkley. And also go on the mantra of putting the game in Jalen Hurts' arm and making him beat you, which Jalen Hurts has done about as well as I thought he's been doing that all season long. He's given the Eagles an opportunity at times to win. But I would much rather play my hand with having Jalen Hurts beat me than Saquon Barkley beating me. And now, throughout the course of the season, the line has worn down due to injury and lack of depth along the line. That's not Saquon Barkley's fault. Right? But is it also out of the realm of possibility to say that Saquon's lost a step? That Saquon is getting older? Again, we've seen this in this town before. What was it, DeMarco Murray a couple of years back, coming off the rushing title, and then completely garbage for us the year after that? You know, again, this is not unprecedented type stuff. So I don't know if it's Saquon, if it's the offensive line, if it's a combination, but I do know it's not micro. It's macro. It's been happening all year. Turnovers. The Eagles did do something uncharacteristic yesterday, and that was micro. and that was turn the football over twice. But it showed you how thin of a line the Eagles are walking right now, that they can't recover from 2 turnovers. It shows you that they got to play an in-between the tackle game perfectly every game in order to come out winning. Now, you sacrifice something when it comes to turnovers or preventing turnovers, and we've seen the Eagles do it. They sacrifice creative chances down the field. They sacrifice opportunities down the field in lieu of not turning the football over. Now, the turnovers yesterday, one on special teams and one by Saquon Barkley, what are you going to do there? But it's a razor line thin line that this football team, the defending Super Bowl champions, walk. And to sit here and tell me, and to have sat here and told me all season long that I was a crackpot for alluding to the fact that we're back to talking about a win is a win is a win, and that a collapse can't happen because this is not the 2023 Eagles, we're finding out is lunacy. A collapse can most certainly happen. And I say it does. And I think Friday's game against the Bears is going to go a long way in deciding on whether or not that collapse occurs. Another thing similar to 2023 was the collapse didn't occur through the gauntlet of tough games. No, the collapse occurred after that. The collapse occurred against the Cowboys, against the Commanders, against the Cardinals. That's where the collapse occurred, not necessarily the pecking order of the NFL. The Eagles have a very easy schedule down the line, or an easier schedule. But parity is a mofo in this league. It is not against the realm of possibility that they have a collapse. It's not. And it's more prevalent and more evident now than it was 3 weeks ago. Macro, not micro. So the prevailing wind out of South Philadelphia seems to be, let's fire Kevin Padula. Let's either give the play calling responsibilities to Nick Sirianni, or let's fire both Sirianni and Padula and make me the head coach. But nothing about, and Statlin's been thrown in there because he's the run game coordinator. He's also the offensive line coach. His name has been burned in effigy over the last 24 hours. But are any of these fixes for the immediate problem of this football team? And that's what I think we should concern ourselves about the football team. What is the immediate fix? Not the fix in the offseason, which Howie Roseman completely failed at last year. But what is the immediate fix for this football team right now? I'm waiting. Somebody tell me. Is firing your offensive coordinator? I know the Raiders did it, but the Raiders are out of contention. Chip Kelly out of a job again. The Giants fired their defensive coordinator today. Well, they're out of it. But is firing your offensive coordinator in week 13 when you're 8-3, is that a fix to the problem? It's not. And it's a ridiculous request to make. Kevin Padula's name is on a list of candidates, hot names for head coaching jobs next year. And I've told you the theory that Kyle Quinn so elegantly put forth on the Birds Blast about that. I think the NFL looks at what Kevin Padula's done with this disjointed, dysfunctional, one-dimensional Eagles offense. And I think they look at it and like, God damn, he's won 8 games? With that? This dude's a genius. We need to bring him in. And I agree with that theory that Kyle Quinn floated out very eloquently last week on the Birds Blast. By the way, the Birds Blast will be on Wednesday this week. You can hear more of Kyle's pearls of wisdom. I'm just saying, man, what is the immediate fix of the macro problem of the Philadelphia Eagles? The Eagles team is treating Sirianni just like the Phillies team treats Robbie. They both doormats. Matt, is there live on Thanksgiving? There is nothing live on Thanksgiving, but we do have a show coming on, but it's pre-recorded. The Fighting's final. So the Ryan versus Washington is still on. It's called the George Washington Eagles. I don't know. They must not be playing it in the city limits. There's just no way. They stopped that stuff years ago. Unless they turned it back on. Did somebody turn it back on and didn't tell me? I know Judge ain't doing it no more. Or maybe it was just like certain people could pull out of it, but I know my school ain't doing it no more. But all right, let's open up the phone lines because I don't really have much of the extra stuff tonight. I was doing another thing, so I didn't really have an opportunity to prepare of the night segment. I do have the card review, but I don't even have a graphic for it. But anyway, the phone lines are open. Hop on in. We will discuss more about the Eagles, macro versus micro, and how the theory that this could be a collapse of a season is still a very valid point because everyone has got all kinds of connotations to bring to the table about what's wrong. But I haven't heard much about how to fix it. And I'm not saying it's because people are stupid, because I don't know if there's any fixes out there. Legitimate fixes. And I'm not benching Hurts for McKee or giving the starting nod to Tank Bigsby. Come on. What are we doing, man? Come on. I'm not saying the nonsense. I'm saying legitimate fixes for this football team with still an opportunity to bring something to Philadelphia that no other Eagle team has ever done. And that's a dynasty. There's still a chance. But what is the fix? Because if you're thinking out there, and I appeal to both the homers, I appeal to the people that are on my side of the fence, I appeal to the people that are down the middle, I appeal to all levels and all sides of this fan base. There has got to be no way in your mind, in your God-fearing soul, that you think this football team is winning a Super Bowl. I don't know how you can wrap your head around that concept right now, the way they're playing. And again, macro versus micro, not based on what happened yesterday, but based on what happened yesterday, the week before that, the week before that, the week before that, the week before that, and the week before that. How can you wrap your head around the concept of the Eagles winning a Super Bowl right now? I want to know. I want to know. And let's get it going tonight. Uncle Papernick. Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Matty? Hey, just answer me this question. Maybe you can give me a good. It baffles me that bad teams can fire a coordinator anytime during the season, but a good team that's not that good of a team can't fire their coordinator during the season. And, a defense or offense could.
Yeah. But listen, there's not the Raiders and the Giants, they're done. They're not, they ain't doing anything. You're not upsetting any apple cart. Eagles are still 8-3. And, there's maybe a sense of trying to keep order inside that locker room. I understand. I'm not saying that you're right, they're wrong. And yeah, the Eagles could fire Kevin Brazil. They definitely could fire. They can fire Sirianni. They can fire anybody they want. Well, but they look at, I think, the long-term ramifications for that season.
Well, what's the long-term ramifications? I mean, right now, they're 2023. They're the worst 8-4 team that's playing in football. Like, they're the worst 10-1 football team back then.
You already gave them that fourth loss? They're only 8-3.
Oh, whatever they are, 8-3. I mean, you see where I'm going with this. Like, no, it's I do. I mean, either that. I mean, during that season, the season before when they went, or the season when they went to the Super Bowl, lost to Kansas City, they brought Vic Fangio in October as a consultant. Doug Peterson has come out and said he would come back he would come here as some type of a consultant. Why aren't Eagles looking to reach out to somebody like him or Frank Reich or anybody that can come in, maybe give some insight to this offense that's just dead like a fish?
No, I agree. I'm not saying that that's not a viable option, but maybe it's more of a, it's almost like Howie Roseman bringing in a consultant to tell him how to do his job or help him how to do his job. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a viable option or a viable opinion. You're right, though. If it ain't working and there's no fix that obviously the coaching staff has, I don't know. I don't know what this coaching staff does. This is one of the worst schemes I've ever seen. There's not even an attempt to try to make things different. There was a little creativity somewhat on Sunday with letting Hurts kind of roll out sometimes, but there was very little pre-snap movement. There was not much there. And then the Landon Dickerson's crap about saying we didn't expect an 8-man front. That's all other kinds of problems. You're right, though. I mean, I don't. it's not that they can't. It's sort of unprecedented. And boy, would we get on, man, that would be, whew, that's like blood in the water over sharks, man. If they would do, I would love that. I would love them to fire somebody in mid-season. That would, but you're right.
I mean, if they did,
is it drastic? Is that, are we there? Are we there yet, Michael Kaepernick? And I'm not saying we're not.
Well, if you go back to 2000, what was it, when they were 10-1, I mean, they should have made a move then, and look what happened. That whole season collapsed. I mean, so why wouldn't you try to do something? Either bring a consultant in, or you can't give the reins to Sirianni. I mean, unless he's calling the plays, and then it's just. I mean, look, we all know this all falls on Howie, and you know, with everything that's going on. But it's funny, like I was saying, I think last night to you, Steichen and Moore, two outsiders, the offense was a little different. You bring in these two guys that are in-house, they're buddy-buddy with Jalen and buddy-buddy with Sirianni, and it's like, look what's happening. Look at the offense. It's back. I mean, it's back to being a dead fish.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. And there might be something to that. The Moore and Steichen were like, no, dude, we're going to run it my way because that's how we're going to do it. And if you don't like it, then fire me. I'd have no ties to you. I don't know you from Adam. I didn't spend the last 8 years following you around the league like Patullo did. And before that, Brian Johnson. There might be something to that. Absolutely.
See, I think when you're just if you're gonna be like a CEO, because I don't consider Mike Tomlin a CEO, because if he had to take over the reins of the defense, he could do it.
No, he's a coach.
Sirianni couldn't take over the reins of a wet paper bag. So
he couldn't take over selling hot dogs in the stands if he could. If he wanted to.
So no, this is what they. If you want to make him the CEO, you bring in your Vic Fangio of offense, and you let them run the offense. You let them run. You got a defense, and he just handles the personality of the team. But for some reason, I don't know why they didn't do that this year. You know, go get a veteran guy that you wouldn't have to worry about. I mean, Frank Reich's out there. I don't understand. Frank Reich was a pretty decent coordinator when he was here in Philadelphia, working with Carson.
I agree. There's names out there that they could go with. I 100% agree with you.
I mean, I don't know the whole deal with Chip Kelly. I mean, he's better off in college where he should just stay. So I don't want him coming to Philadelphia.
No, I don't want Chip Kelly back here. No,
I don't want him here. No. I mean, but it's just the Landon Dickerson thing. Yeah, I believe in like what you're saying. Everything should be kept in house. I think what's happening is I think that the cracks are just too big now, and the floodwaters coming, and they don't care no more because it's like the inmates are on the asylum. That's what it is, and the CEO can't do his job. Howie's like probably like, oh man, and Jeffrey Lurie's trying to calm down AJ Brown. It's a mess.
It makes you wonder what the culture really is in that locker room. It's not, and as I said, it's not necessarily what he said, Landon Dickerson, right? Of course, he's frustrated. But as a player, and if I was in a team, and I've been on teams like this growing up, and, you know, listen, you have issues, that's fine. You don't take him out that locker room. They stay in here, and we work on them in here. But the fact that Landon Dickerson felt that he could say those things tells me a lot more than about what he actually said. It tells me the culture that's inside that locker room. The players are not accountable to anything.
That's why I said it's like the Phillies with Robbie when Harper walked by him and said, "My bad," when he didn't run out to first base. Yeah. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's the account. Lane Johnson said that a few years ago about there's no accountability. It's a Philadelphia thing. It's all sports. It's the Phillies, the Flyers. I mean, there's no accountability in all four sports teams. There ain't none. It's a shame but the Eagles, I mean, I don't get it, man. I mean, I like Howie, but Howie's done a crap job this year, and it's a shame that Sirianni's going to get the Bengal treatment because he won a Super Bowl and he's going to be here probably for the next 10 years. Whether you win one playoff game or whatever, we're stuck with the guy.
And that's a problem because he's not a good head coach. He's not. He's a terrible head coach.
He's the only head coach in football that can't do nothing else besides just stand there and be a cheerleader.
And yell at the officials. That's all he does.
That's it. He can't do nothing else. I mean, that's why when I say like John Gruden, I'm just putting names out there, guys that can.
I love John Gruden. I would love to have a John Gruden type. Absolutely.
Well, no, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I want a head coach that can take over, that can call plays on defense or offense. Whether he's doing it or he's not, or but he can do it if he had to. But our guy can't. Like you said, can't sell hot dogs. I mean, that's the poor hot dog vendor's probably saying, "Yo, he can't."
No, he couldn't do my job. God damn it!
No, it's bad. I mean, they got to play the Bears, and
Michael, I'm telling you, this game Friday, this is a huge game for the future of this season. I'm telling you. This is a huge game.
I think they win that game because they're at home. I do think they win that. I think it's going to be closer. People got blown away. I don't think it's a blow-away. I think they do win it at home, but
if they lose,
it's the games after.
If they come out flat, if they come out offensively flat, and they lose that football game, they're going to burn the link down.
Yeah, it's going to be. But the problem is, what's going to if they lose, and that offense is done. And Sirianni takes. I'm telling you, Sirianni takes over. I mean, I guess I'll be rooting against Buffalo to win the Super Bowl because I can't stand them. I
mean, we got a lot of football left to go, and I'm not saying they can't reverse it, but what is the fix? Is it firing the coordinator? What is the on the field fix to wake this team up or to get them at least two-level or two-dimensional on offense? I don't see that fix. I really don't.
How about getting other players involved? Shipley or whatever the guy's name, Tank or whatever his name is, the other back. I mean, you don't see that guy's averaging. What was he averaging? Like 8 yards a carry?
Well, he only had the one. He had the one carry for 8 yards. That was
I'm talking about that big game. When he had that big game.
Oh, a few weeks back.
Yeah. I mean, you got a punt returner who. Whatever he should have been pink slipped right after that. I mean, I don't know. They're not hungry. They don't. The only ones that look hungry are some of the defensive players, and then even though some of them don't look hungry. It's like this whole team. There's no personality. I don't know what they're. I have no clue. Like, are they a running team? Are they a defensive team? Are they a passing team? I mean, Jalen sounds like he wants to cry every time he talks at his press conference. I'm like, we're 8-3. This is horrible.
And this is going into week 13, and we're still talking about what the identity of the offense is.
There it is. You got the word. I couldn't figure it out.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's not. It's because Sirianni. See, this is where you need an Andy Reid or a Bill Bell. I'm using the examples. Head coaches that will straighten that ship right out in a sense. He ain't straightening it out. That offensive coordinator is looking at him, shaking his head, going, "Yeah, whatever."
What are you going to do, man?
Now, you want to know what? I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't mind if they put. Now I know Fangio wasn't a good head coach in Denver, but that he didn't have the talent that he has here. I wonder if you poured him down and took Sirianni out, and would because he's a veteran guy, would they respect that, the players?
That could be an off the wall option. It would shake things up. You'd have a different voice in trying to help call the offensive plays. Even though it's not an offensive guy, but I'm sure.
Well, I mean, he's a defensive guy. I'm talking about.
No, I think that's not a bad idea. But that would be a shakeup. That would definitely qualify as a shakeup right there.
Because look, Howie ain't going nowhere. Only way Howie's going to go somewhere if he retires or just says I'm done. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon, unless Well, he's a Jets fan. Unless they offer half the franchise over there, then he might
rebuild them. Go to the Jets and rebuild them.
You want to know something? For all of Howie's faults, I get it. I mean, he took that. He learned off Joe Banner and them, and then he took the mess with Chip Kelly when he was in the broom closet. And he brought it back. I mean, we could have been, in the 80s and in the 80s again, with all that bad football that was going on with Marion Campbell, and Ray Rhodes.
He's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 3. The most successful GM in Eagles history. Absolutely. But here we are, the precipice of a dynasty, and this is the team he put out for the year. And to me, that if they don't do it, and if they collapse, what does that do to Howie's career resume? Does that hurt it?
Here's a question for you. I want to ask you this I was asking my buddy this today. So Joe Burrows, I think he's the next Andrew Luck. He's gonna either tell me he wants to trade or he's gonna retire in Cincinnati.
Yeah, you can't stay healthy at all.
So, well, you can't stay healthy when you got an offensive line or a running game, and you got $500 million and 2 wide receivers.
Yep. Nope. We lose Kaepernick? Kaepernick, we lost you. Call back, man. We lost you. Joe Hale, you there?
I'm here.
We lost Kaepernick, man. He just fell off. Joe, you there?
Oh, it does go. Yeah.
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Froze. Yeah, you froze. What's up?
Here's an interesting name if Patula goes. Jalen Hurts' is old college offensive coordinator. Brian Diabo from the Giants head coach.
Yes.
I would take him in a heartbeat if Patula goes to be a head coach. Okay, why?
I don't know, man. He just got fired from the Giants head coaching job, right? Listen, this qualifies as a shakeup and an attempt to fix it. I'll give you that. But are we reaching for straws a little bit here? I'm just saying.
Yes and no. Because what did he do with Josh Allen?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I want to talk Phillies.
Let's talk Phillies.
Or MLB. What's your thoughts on the Nino trade? And apparently they're talking to Garcia from Texas.
So the Nimmo trade to the Rangers for Marcus Semien, I'd like the trade for the Mets. It's a very good trade. I covet players like Marcus Semien because I covet a second, a number 2 hole hitter. That's a legit 2-hole hitter, and that really sets up the top of that Mets lineup. It really, really does. You got Semien, Soto, and then if they bring back Alonso, that's a pretty tight little group to run through there. It doesn't bode well for us. It's everything that I want the Phillies to be doing is being aggressive and trying to fill holes of the lineup, not placate the players and make them happy. But I love the trade. I love the trade for the Mets. It's a good trade.
So back to my second question. Would you go get Garcia from the Rangers?
Matter of fact, it's pretty funny that you mentioned Garcia. He's our card of the night. Adios Garcia. He's an outfielder. So
wait. He can play infield too. Yeah,
I know. But he's a middle of the order guy. I don't need middle of the order guys anymore. I could probably put him 5th or 6th in the lineup. We have a hole there too. The price is right. I go after him. Absolutely.
So, Jason Stark was on Hot Stove this morning. He said the Phillies were in deep negotiations with Bregman's agent and Alonso's agent. And that was this morning.
Wow, I'm going to bring both of them here? Wow, that would be interesting. That would be great. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, It's going to be one or the other.
No, I know.
Alonso wants to stay in the NL East, and he doesn't want to go back to the Mets. His agent is reporting.
Well, if you watch the Fighting's final season review show, you'll see where we've already talked about this. I covet Pete Alonso. I think he'd be perfect for this team, and there's 5 reasons. 1, he's a right-handed power bat. And 2, he's protection for Harper. 3, he's not going to bitch and moan about batting 4th. He's not going to tell you he's more comfortable batting 2nd or leading off. No, he's going to bat 4th. That's where I want him to bat. 4th, he can play defense. He's a better defensive option than Kyle Schwarber. And 5th, it fixes the 2016 MLB draft where we could have drafted him instead we took Mickey Moniak. That's the reasons why I want Pete Alonso.
And would you go out and sign a guy from Japan, the third baseman that everybody wants?
Yes, I would, but he's not going to the Phillies. He's going to the Mariners, Dodgers, or Padres.
No, he said no to the Dodgers.
I don't. Well,
no, that's the other guy. That's the other pitcher in China that everybody wants.
In China or Japan? Who are you talking about?
Japan. And Phillies are interested in Dylan Cease.
Yeah, that's another player I wouldn't mind, but he's not a number 2. He's a lower level. He's a lower in the lineup kind of guy, but I like Dylan Cease. I've always liked Dylan Cease. But he's a younger player. It's going to cost a lot to get him.
What, in free agency?
He's not a free agent, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, no, I'd go after him. Absolutely.
Like a 2-year deal? Like $20 million?
How many years? 2 for 20? Yeah, I do. I do 20. Yeah, absolutely.
So
he's not going to want that, but I do it.
Try it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. What else is on your mind, Joe?
Penn State and a head coaching search. I really want this Terry Smith, as long as he can bring in the right offensive coordinator, like Kerry Collins.
Yeah.
Because nobody else wants the job.
Collins, the quarterback?
Yes.
Bring back an old Penn State alum to do the job. Yeah, I mean, I want more of a bigger name. I actually wanted Nick Saban, but he's not going to do it. He already said so. John Gruden, there's a name that I wouldn't mind seeing. Chip Kelly. Think Chip Kelly ends up on the Penn State sideline
as offensive coordinator? Yeah, I would be all right with that.
No, head coach Chip Kelly.
No, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. Because he
going back to college. It's going to be interesting.
He came from Ohio State.
Yep.
Chip Kelly.
And he ran off to go to the Raiders after 1 year, and now he's done with the Raiders in less than a year. And he'll go back to college, but does Penn State throw money at him to make him the head coach?
Offensive coordinator.
I don't know, man. We'll see. I think I'd be a better job for him, but I don't know if that's what will happen.
So
that's all right, Joe. We good?
Wednesday. Can we talk Thanksgiving tradition on Facebook?
Whatever, man. Do whatever you want.
No. So it is at Northeast High School, Ryan, Washington.
So are they still? So maybe it's just select schools that didn't want to do it anymore. I know they blanketed. A lot of schools don't do it anymore, and it's terrible.
So you mentioned John Ritchie. He's going to be up in Jersey for the Turkey Ball.
Yeah, it's in Hayden Township, right?
Haddon Township, yeah.
Yeah.
Haddonfield
they do it every year. Yeah.
Haddonfield versus Haddon Heights.
Yep.
Which is right down.
The camera will be there too.
Yes, and who's the guy on the radio on the sideline? Not Spadero. Who's the other one?
Well, it used to be Eskin, but they fired him. So, is it going to be Rhea? Is she going down on the sideline, or?
Yes, and somebody else is going.
Is it Seltzer?
No, the other one, the one that calls the Eagles.
The one who calls the Eagles
on the sideline for W.
Yeah, her last name's Kearney, or the blonde girl. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she'll be covering because the Eagles are at home Sunday.
Yep.
But that's it.
All right, Joe. Tune back in tomorrow night. We'll finish up the week strong. Got 2 more episodes left, and then we'll get into the holiday weekend, man.
Yeah, Wednesday's
it. All right, Joe Hale. That's what I'm talking about. Joe Hale bringing it to the bringing it to what we're doing. Peppernick, if you can hear me, man, we lost you, dude. You fell off. But all right, listen, I think I'm going to take the hint here. I've been broadcasting for hours tonight. Just not here, somewhere else. Matt, there is no live shows on Thanksgiving Day at all, Ricky. We're giving the crew's getting the day off, man. I'm not Ebenezer Scrooge over here. I'm going to give the guys time off. But we are going to have a show. The 2025 Fightins Final Season and Review Show will air at 12 noon on Thanksgiving, but it's pre-recorded, meaning it's not live. We recorded it a few days earlier, and we're airing it on Thursday. So there will be a show, but it will not be live. So I hope that helps you out. So I guess, you know what? I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. Good hour's worth of content. I thought was pretty fun. We dwelled deeply into the Eagles again, talk some baseball. We'll get back into some more. I should probably start turning the page tomorrow and start talking Eagles Bears and how they do there. But maybe we'll do hot stove. We'll do a full show tomorrow. We'll bring in all the segments back in because we'll have uninterrupted. There'll be no clear the ice. So be back tomorrow. Make sure you're tuned in to all the great things that are happening on the network. I showed you the schedule earlier. I wish you guys a great night, and I will talk with you in the morning, or I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Won't talk to you guys in the morning. I hope not. But we'll see you guys tomorrow night, and enjoy the rest of your Monday, and have a great Sunday or Tuesday. A lot of you I know my last day of work is tomorrow. But don't gauge that with me. I don't really have a full-time day job, but my last day of work is tomorrow. Some of you might also be experiencing that. So be back tomorrow for more fun and games, kids. See ya.